you get asked to, but the arrangement itself is voluntarily, and therefore it cannot be slavery, and it is not coerced. The only thing that would be slavery is if you have to pay somebody else in order to be allowed to do your job. That's a form of economic slavery. And like you see with coercion, coercion is actually a strong aspect of what I see within the Zeitgeist movie itself. How are you going to bring people to a level where they use no money and they give everything they own and everything they work for to the greater good, to the, well, let's call it the collective, to give it to the collective human beings and give it to mankind in general. In order to get to that system, you have to use coercion. Like Jacques Fresco said it on many occasions in 2009 and in 2010. You do not have ownership. That's the fundamental thing that the Zeitgeist movie brings forward. In order to do that, you have to use coercion and you have to use force. If somebody plucks an apple from a tree and takes the seed and plants his own apple tree, and people start picking fruits from it, well, and he says, "Hey, wait, this is my apple tree. I grew it. It's mine. I did stuff for that." How do you stop him from taking ownership of that tree? And also, you get my point, really. I didn't really prepare this video. I'm just doing it on the fly. So, progressive slavery, Great Depression. Well, Great Depression is a great example of government interference within the market. If the governments did not have a monopoly on currency, this would not have happened, because you would have had many ways of paying people. It's not money that's dominant in trade and barter. It's goods and services, and money can be just the goods and services that you have within a free market. Money is not just this piece of paper that the government gives you. It is a means of barter. You can do this by credits on a web page, like I said before, through the PayPal principle, or you can have many other ways, even seashells if you wish. If you wish to trade with seashells, of course, because you would have a horrible economy at the seaside. But then again, this is a voluntary system. If you want to try it out, just do it. And if people pick up on that and find it work, there is no problem. But it's all based on voluntary interaction with other people. So it's not coercive and cannot be slavery. And the things you mentioned can only be within a government system and of central planning.
The state control of counterfeiting currency is not voluntary. You try and set up a competing currency, they will throw your ass in jail.
That is completely irrelevant to the dynamics described in Zeitgeist moving forward and the point made. Regardless of how anyone sets up any currency, it is still based on necessity, coercion, and the need to submit to labor for income, and the manipulation of those processes for differential advantage and cost efficiency demands scarcity and hence coercion.
I have only one thing to say to that, and you can call it a straw man or a fallacy or whatever you want. It's the same basic principle. If you want to eat the apple, you have to pick the fruit. That's basically what it boils down to. Also, if you have some property, well, you don't have to let people starve. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can, if you have a ranch, you can maybe do voluntary work and provide food to the needy, if that's your wish. There is no need for the things you say within a free society. If you can fend for yourself and you have a high value towards the kind of system where there is no necessity, well, there is always a necessity. You cannot deny necessity. I have a necessity to eat. I have a necessity to, things like that. And if I want the apple, I have to pick it from a tree. If that is called manual labor. If labor is cohesive and slavery, like you say, well, the apple's not going to fall from the tree right into your mouth and digest it well on itself and into your body. That's not going to happen. You have to pick the fruit and eat it.
when they say money is debt. This is not accurate. This is not accurate. A gold-based currency that's privately run is not debt.
I'm not sure how he defines the word accurate, since Zeitgeist moving forward is actually talking about the way the monetary system works now, in the current state of affairs, which, again, all money is generated by debt, whether it's a commercial loan, whether it is the central bank exchanging bonds, etc. And for those out there that think somehow the gold standard would resolve some of these problems, if you go back before the Great Depression, how did your average business get money to start a business? They had to take a loan, regardless of the gold standard or not. So loans are generated, loans create debt. Very, very simple. There's no way for the majority of money to circulate with the gold standard or without being generated out of debt as the process of circulation. And one more thing to add, which Stefan completely avoids, which is very important in this equation, is the introduction of interest. Interest is charged with a gold standard or without, and the interest doesn't exist in the money supply. Only the principal is created.
It's like saying rape is sex, and therefore we should get rid of sex. Saying money is debt, therefore we should get rid of money, is to conflate the violent monopoly of money, quote, enjoyed by the state, with the voluntary money systems that can be adopted or discarded at will without violence.
I would be happy to see introduction of a monetary system that has 1, no debt generation, and 2, no interest. The only way you can do that is to not have it oriented with the market system. If you're going to distribute money as a bank and you have to make money, you have to charge interest on it. And boom, there's your intrinsic flaw.
Well, if you have heard my previous example, you will see that this is not true. There can be a money system which is totally full reserve, which has no interest and no debt. Maybe a small service fee for keeping the gold into the bank, which becomes more like a safe deposit box that somebody else has and that you take as a service from this person, and they charge a small fee. Then there is no debt and there is no interest. Interest is only a principle which says, if I give you this much money, you will have to give me that same amount back, plus you have to give me a little bit more. Now, if that more comes from another bank, or if it's produced, or if you pay them back in goods and services, that is your own. Like I said, the free market has an infinite amount of possibilities to fix this problem. Like I said, with the PayPal, with the credits on a website, you can take your gold and your ducats or your florins or your Deutschmarks stamped in gold and paid off. And the one who stamps it takes a small chip of gold for his own in order to, well, create this money, so that therefore you get, well, you know what I'm saying. You pay it in ounces or in stuff like that. You could, what, troy ounce would be an absolutely amazing currency in that way, because you can do it in grams, kilos, micrograms, stuff like that. But it is all possible within a free market system if there is no central planning involved and the market is enabled to roam free. So if you say money, it's only possible when it's not oriented within a market system. It is only possible when it is within a market system that the money occurs and where the money is created. Or, well, the money is not created as in bonds and, well, a central bank that prints the money. The money is there because people want to use it in order to get goods and services. It could be money, it could be gold, it could be silver, it could be nickel, it could be bronze, it could be a piece of pie, seashells, you name it. That's the great thing about trade and barter. Money is only one thing we trade in order to get those goods and services. You can also trade goods and services with goods and services on itself. And many other possibilities are possible within a free market, and only if it is oriented within the market system itself.